to have you in this lesson. This is a continuation of classification of fruits. In the previous lesson, I taught soft or succulent fruit, where I made mention of berries, asparagus, soroses, and the likes. In this lesson, I will be continuing from dry fruit. What are dry fruits? These are fruits which have a hard and dry pericarp. What is pericarp? Once again, that outer covering of the fruit is known as pericarp. And the first on the list of all the dry fruits we'll be teaching today is legumes. Legumes, they have a dry outer covering and they have one carpel and they can split along two edges. That is, they can split along two edges. Those are legumes. Examples include the likes of cowpea. They can split along two edges. Also, soybean. And aside soybean, we have the likes of groundnuts. This is groundnuts. They can split along two edges. And especially when dry, they have a hard pericarp. That is, the outer covering becomes strong. Those are legumes. Now, capsules. Capsules, they have many joint carpels and they can split along all sutures from the base to the apex. The way they are arranged, the way they are fused together to form the fruit, they can split along different portions of the fruit. Take a look at this. It can split open from different sides. That is a capsule. Caryopsis, point number 3, and this is a simple, dry, one-seeded fruit. It does not split open at all. It is described to be indehiscent. Indehiscent fruits are fruits that do not split open. Examples include the likes of maize, the likes of guinea corn, the likes of millet. They are all caryopsis. The pericarp, that is the outer covering, is tough. Number 4, nuts. Nuts have a hard pericarp. Examples include the likes of walnuts. They have hard pericarp, which can only be broken when cracked. The likes of almond. Almond also are nuts. When the fruit is eaten, the nut inside it is strong. It has a very tough pericarp. Other examples aside almond includes the likes of cashew nut. Cashew nut is also a nut. When the fruit is formed, the cashew nut is strong and it houses the seed inside it. This is a typical cashew fruit that has the nut attached to the fleshy receptacle. What are the advantages of sexual or seed propagation? Sexual or seed propagation, like I described, I said they are those propagation with the use of seeds. The first point is it is easy to practice. When the farmer plants the crops, he does it with ease. And moreover, the seeds are easy to carry about in the farm. It is easy to practice. The seeds can be carried around conveniently to the farm. Unlike vegetative propagation, where sometimes people are planting with stem of cassava, for instance. You carry them all along, they are heavier compared to seeds. When you are propagating with seeds, they can be carried along conveniently. Point number 2 is that it brings about easy multiplication of plant population. When crops are propagated with the use of their seeds, within a short period of time, those seeds planted, they generate young, numerous crops. For instance, when maize is propagated with the use of seeds, within a short period of time, say 3 weeks or more, a lot of crops can be generated. Point number 4, it is a sure way to start a disease-free crop. Unlike the likes of cassava, which has to be propagated with the use of stem, and cocoa, which can be propagated vegetatively also. Sometimes, when these crops are propagated vegetatively, the diseases that affect the parent plant also affect the young plant. But in the case of sexual or seed propagation, seeds that are planted are usually free from diseases as long as the farmer plants with viable seeds. Point number 5, it can be used to improve crops through crossbreeding. Scientists on a regular basis research and manipulate crops. They combine the gametes from different crops, the male parts and the female parts, to manipulate and combine traits or characteristics. Planting crops with seed is the basis of crop improvement. Crops are planted with seeds and the characteristics are combined with others. What are the disadvantages of sexual or seed propagation? What are the shortcomings of sexual or seed propagation? Some crops takes long time to mature and fruit when planted with seeds. The likes of pawpaw, when planted with seeds, takes close to 2 years and even sometimes more to produce fruits when planted with seeds. However, if planted vegetatively, such as through grafting, it can do way better than that. Orange, when planted vegetatively, matures and start fruiting in a short period of time, unlike those that are planted with seeds. Vegetative propagation always tends to produce faster than those that are planted with seeds. This is applicable to all the crops. The likes of mango, when planted with seeds, grows tall before it starts producing. But when planted vegetatively, within a short period of time, it starts producing. Sexual or seed propagation delays in production for some crops, especially tree crops. Some seeds are lost in the soil during propagation because of termites, rats, and rodents. The likes of termites. Termites can destroy seeds that are planted in the soil, as these organisms actually live in the soil. They go around in search of food and they can destroy seeds that are planted. The likes of rodents also, like rats, all these can destroy seeds that are planted. It is difficult to grow crops that are seedless with this method. There are some crops that do not produce seeds, or at least they delay a lot before they produce seeds. It is difficult to propagate them with this method. The likes of cocoyam and the previous crop, potato, all these, and yam as well, are difficult to be planted with seeds. So it is difficult to produce this kind of crops with sexual or seed propagation. Seed treatment before sowing. Why should we treat seeds before we sow? It is a good idea to treat seeds before sowing, as it helps seeds to germinate faster and sometimes helps seeds to germinate at all. These are the ways seeds can be treated before sowing. You can soak the seeds before you plant them. This helps to soften the pericarp, that is that outer covering that covers the seed, so that it can germinate fast. Another way of treating seed is scarification, to loosen seed surface. The term scarification may sound like a big word, but it simply refers to the act of loosening the outer covering of the seed. The outer covering of the seed in some seeds is very hard, so there is need to loosen it. When you loosen it, it helps it to germinate faster. It helps the emergence of the seeds. It helps the shoot to come up quickly, and the roots, the radicle that develops into the root, to goes down quickly. All these are ways of treating seeds before sowing. You weaken the outer surface. You can do that by soaking it first. Then you can use file to reduce the strength of the outer surface. For some seeds such as walnut, it can be cracked gently with the use of stone. And for smaller seeds, sandpaper such as this can be used. You rub the seeds against the surface of the sandpaper. It helps to weaken the outer covering and promote easy emergence, that is, easy germination of the seed. Aside scarification, there is something known as chemical dressing of seeds before planting. When you carry out chemical dressing, what you do is simply adding of chemicals to seeds, mixing chemicals with seeds. You do this to prevent the seeds from being damaged by the likes of termites, by being eaten by birds and rodents. All these are ways of treating seeds before sowing. Well, that is all so far on sexual or seed propagation. Now, asexual or vegetative propagation. Asexual or vegetative propagation is the use of plant parts such as stem, leaves, roots to multiply the crops. In a nutshell, seeds are not used, but the parts of the plant are used to plant the young ones, to generate young ones. Roots, such as those of potatoes, can be used to propagate potatoes. The leaf of African violet, the African violet plant, can be used to plant it. The leaf of bryophyllum, that is the bryophyllum plant, can be used to plant bryophyllum. The leaves can be used to generate another one. That is vegetative propagation. The parts of the plant can be used to plant it again. In the case of sugarcane, the stem cuttings can be used to plant new crops. Cassava cuttings can be used to plant new crops. All these, the part of the plant is used to generate the young ones. What are the methods of asexual or vegetative propagation? There are several methods that can be used, and we are going to discuss them one after the other. But in this lesson, I will state them, then I will be discussing just one in this lesson. The first one is budding. Another is grafting, cutting, layering, marcotting. Marcotting is also known as air layering, and some others we will be discussing under the point number 6. Budding is the bringing together of the bud and the stalk. There are two ways of doing this. There is patch budding and there is a T-cut budding. I will demonstrate the two in this lesson. The budding of a plant using the T-cut method is done by making a T shape on the stalk plant. That is the plant that still has its roots attached to it. You open up gently to expose the cambium, that is the wooden part of the plant, and then you cut a bud from another plant that you hope to graft together with the stalk. This bud is then inserted into that opening. Ensure it is in good contact with the wooden parts, and you cover up with the flesh of the stalk plant. Arrange it well, and then you tie it together using either a grafting tape or a good cellophane paper. When it is tied properly, it is left for some period of time. It can be up to a month or so. Now, after 1 month, the plant will be seen sprouting if the budding process is carried out properly. After a month, the bud will be seen sprouting if it is carried out properly. Using the patch method, a cut is made on the stock plant. This time around, it's not a T-cut. A patch is cut out of it, and then the bud that is to be placed in that position is cut within the size of the patch that was cut out of the stock. You get a nice bud that can grow well on that patch, and you cut using a budding knife. You trim it appropriately so that it can fit in properly into the patch that is provided in the stock plant. You insert it, ensure it fits in properly, and then you tie with either a grafting tape or a cellophane elastic material. Exclude air totally, that is, ensure it is well tied and air does not get in. If it is properly done, you leave it out for some period of time, and after some time, if it is well done, it is well carried out, after a period of 5 days or more, you can loosen a bit the point of the bud to allow it outgrowth, and after a month, if it is well done, the bud should be seen growing properly. We have come to the end of this lesson. I believe you had a nice time viewing this lesson. I will see you in the next class. Have a nice day.